Hello, and welcome to the latest episode of my Bloodborne Effective Run. This episode is not brought to you by Coke Zero, but if Coke Zero wants to bring you future episodes, I'm not going to say no to that, especially if they can provide me some free, caffeine-free Coke Zero. In all seriousness, what we're going to do today is we are going to go on an adventure into the Hypogean jail. Last episode, we did things to do before Emilia, and one of those things was unlocking the Hypogean jail. And you can complete the Hypogean jail pretty much whenever you want to. There's not really too much of a timeline on that right now, but it does change pretty drastically, or rather become inaccessible in its current state after fighting Rom. So if you do want to experience the level this way, and you're about to approach Rom, it is important to note that you need to go to the Hypogean jail before you progress past Rom. We also acquired our Ludwig's Holy Blade and are in the process of upgrading it to match our Saw Spear. Now, I use the Saw Spear as my main weapon. I am planning on pointing out at specific points when the Ludwig's Holy Blade is going to be supremely useful. And for most part, the answer to that question is always. It is always very good in most situations. It is a very good weapon. But the Saw Spear is also a very good weapon, and I would argue Bloodborne is a design behind it. So now we're going to be fighting one of our baggy Jedis or kidnappers, and I don't really think I've talked about this in detail, but they have a major weakness in that they have to go Super Saiyan, and it gives you a lot of time to set up a backstab such as this, or just to wail on them. I can't take credit for this discovery or technique. I have to give credit where it's due. Epic Name Bro was the first person I saw fight him this way, and ever since he broke them down that way, this enemy has gone from something I find incredibly terrifying to jump change. Watch, we'll do it again. Now, they can still two-shot me quite easily. That's definitely a possibility, but look, he's got to go Super Saiyan, and I just get all the time in the world to do whatever I want to him. And even in this state, see, he's gotten away from me. Not as scary as they used to be. Just get behind him and wail on him a few times. They are far more aggressive after they go Super Saiyan, though. Behind this pillar, we've got one of the Witches of Hemwick. You thought they were limited to Hemwick Charnel Lane? Nope. Here they are. They become a normal enemy. Or rather, they are a normal enemy in this area. And they are collecting, I guess, eye-looking pebbles? I don't know. But the kidnappers and them are slightly in cahoots. And then here, we've got a Wandering Madness, which will provide us some of the Twin Bloodstone Shards we want to put on to the Ludwig's Holy Blade. I think currently we're at +4, so we need to get 13 total, I believe. Either 13 or 14. I'm not sure. I think we need 5 for +5, and then 8 for +6. And this is where if you were to get killed by the kidnappers and brought here, this is where you start. And then over in the next room, we have our Yandere Nun Girl. Adela? I think it's Adela. That's hard to remember between Adela and Ariana. Might be Ariana. I'll have to look it up and correct myself. There are a few reasons to come here and explore it pretty thoroughly. One, if you are doing more of an arcane build and you're stingy about your consumable papers for putting them on your weapon, there is a weapon here called the Tonitrus, which we'll be covering later. Now, I do want to talk about this doorway where we just saw her run through. It is important to sprint past them, otherwise they will grab you and cut your eyeballs out, just like the Witches of Hemwick want to do. And there's another clue. There's our bloodshot eyeballs. But yeah, back to the Tonitrus. This is a good reason to come here. Another good reason is to... this is just a fantastic farm for blood vials. There are a couple of pigs that we can kill here that always drop between 4 to 6 blood vials and about 3k blood echoes. So if you want to power level, this is a good place to do it as well early on in the game. Or if, like me, you prefer to just farm here and max out your blood vials so you never have to worry about them, that is also a viable choice. And actually, maxing out your blood vials can completely, well, completely is stronger, but it can modify the difficulty of the game somewhat in terms of balancing blood bullets. It allows you to be much more frivolous with them because when you have maxed out your blood vials, you're only going to pick up to the 20 amount. So if there's like 6 sitting on the ground and you pick 2 of them up, there's going to be 4 remaining on the ground, allowing you to pump some blood bullets immediately, regardless of how many you have, and then heal, and then just pick up the blood vial right then and there. These guys are quite cheesable. They, for some reason, have the ability to phase through the door there, and then use their evil Jedi powers. I guess Sith, technically. And then the next door I'm going to be leading them to, they also have the ability to walk through that. However, the third door, which is, you know, visually speaking, archway-wise, identical to the other ones we've had them walk through. Like, they seem to be the same, it seems to be the same model and everything. For whatever reason, they get stuck there, and it allows you to cheese them. If you're not comfy fighting this enemy yet, this is a way you can kind of toy with them and get some freebie shots on them. These guys, like I said, do have a good chance to drop twin bloods. I'm just going to call them twin bloods, easier to say. So it's a good portion to farm for a +6 weapon, especially if at this point you have swapped weapons. So you're like, I'm no longer using the weapon I started off with, be it the whip, the axe, or the cane, or the Kirk hammer. You've decided to go a different route. This is a good place to catch your weapon up without too much investment and time grinding. And there's just a lot to gain from grinding here. You know, in terms of blood levels, blood echoes, blood vials. There's just it's a really good farming area early in the game. Now, it can kill you. The ads here, I would argue, are more of a threat than the boss here. Which I'll be covering Parl next episode. Parl is quite scary. He's got a bigger bark than his bite, I would say, overall, though. Parl is actually quite... I want maybe fragile. Like, it's not that he's got a small amount of health. Parl! Parl that kills people. But he's got... he's quite easy to knock over. He's not very good at standing up. Especially with the saw cleaver or saw spear. The L1 attack on the... I guess all weapons have this. It's just I find those two easier to use the L1 attack on. It's just so strong. So out here we've got our blood banks, so to speak. We've got blood bank number 1 coming up the stairs here, which you can hear on the left a little bit, and now behind us. And then we've got a couple dogs and our last chance at some twin bloods. Well, second to last chance. Now, by chance, I mean until we die or reset the area. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 baggy Jedis to fight here. So they are a threat. They can kill you, but as soon as you get a hit on them, it's pretty much over. So even if he's far away, you've got time to get there because he's got to go Super Saiyan due to his logic or nature telling them that, hey, I'm below this health amount. I need to go Super Saiyan. Or whatever that enraged state they take is. Berserk, maybe? I don't know. Another twin blood for us. So if you're planning on changing weapons from what you've been using early on in the game and you've invested, don't worry. You can easily get some Twin Bloods, but you want to go ahead and swap to the weapon and make it as strong as it can possibly be at this point. This is the place to come and really handle that. Here we got our first blood bank. Just get behind him and shove your hand. Just make sure he doesn't have cancer. And if he does, you need to send him onto the big pig farm in the sky. I'm sorry, that's only 2 blood vials, but still, 3K. It's pretty obscene. We also got the moon rune earlier, so we can, which acts similar to the covetous silver serpent ring from Dark Souls. So you can equip that run through here and enhance your gains on blood echoes even more. If you are planning on doing a farming route like that, I would suggest actually investing all of what echoes that you have on your character before you start farming in the Bolt Hunter's Mark. Then the route I usually take, which I'll show off at the end here, is I take out the 2 kidnappers that are right on spawn. I kill the woman with I kill the Witch of Highness that's just chilling right there, and then I kill the 2 pigs. And you're gonna see the second pig. It's actually gonna get me a couple of them, but I kill those 2 pigs, and then I just use the mark. If you don't want to waste it, you can run back, but it'll save you about 30 seconds, and 30 seconds might not seem like a lot of time, but repeat, multiply it together, that becomes minutes. Like if you did 30 runs, to try to make every weapon you have at this point plus 6, I guess, I don't know. You could save yourself 15 minutes of grinding right there. Here's our shortcut back if we die, which, that never happens to me. But now we have a way out to the main courtyard without having to go through the kidnappers and miss I like your eyeballs. And here we have got our final pig. Now, I kind of approached this the wrong way. You can lure him out, and that is a fine strategy if you do a better job than I do. Unfortunately, he just foxed me right there. I don't remember how I used to do it. I think I used to hide behind that one statue and just let him run into it. But it's been a while. It's been rusty. He does get me again. And on the 3rd try, I think I find the better method for this. But dying to him is not a big deal. It puts your souls right there, especially if you lure him out. Nobody's going to pick those up besides you. And it allows you to fight this pig again. So it allows you to collect a lot of souls to begin with. So I do not recommend ignoring these pigs. I do in fact recommend fighting them. There's a lot to gain from fighting them. And even if you lose your echoes, once you get used to fighting them, there's a lot to gain from fighting them. I do recommend, if it's your first playthrough, sticking here for some time. Getting those blood echoes is up really high, and not really investing in levels, but investing in blood echoes. Just trying to max out your blood echoes and your silver bullets, so that way you don't have to, farm for them for the rest of the game. Take some time here, so that this will allow you to get good on bosses and not have to go on a grinding fast. That being said, like I said before, ROM, if you do get stuck on any bosses and you feel like your resources are coming low, come back here. It's just such a good farm. It really is. Something about pigs in Bloodborne in this game being good farms. Not enough range there. Get him anyway. It is kind of funny to watch them correct the entire boar's body rather than just turning the hunter to go the boar's direction for that. The goofy little animation in video games they make. So this time I just decided to run up on him so I can try to get him to not charge. And at this point with the +6 weapon, we do a good chunk of damage to him with the fully charged R2. Just get our first look at some bolt paper. So bolt paper, much like fire paper, applies some elemental damage to your weapon, and it allows it to do, I don't know if it's a flat bonus or a scaled bonus. I think it's a scaled bonus with Arcane, but a minimum flat bonus at least. Probably, well, what am I saying? You know what? I will correct myself here on that. I'll have to make a note and look that up and put a note here. But it, you know, it provides a bonus, and if the enemy you're fighting happens to be strong to fire, use bolt. If they're strong to bolt, use fire. It's pretty safe there. There is a tertiary damage type, but you need to invest into Arcane to even be able to access it. You do have access to that type before ROM, technically. You get and it is renewable. It uses bullets to buff your weapon rather than, you know, a consumable stack. Let's talk about that. So, in the Arcane build, MP is represented by your bullet count. It's not really represented by an FP bar or, you know, a blue bar or a mana points bar. Magic is you use the bullets as a catalyst to spring forth magic. And other horrors of the unknown, because you are smart and Arcane's scary good. Arcane's really hard. There are a lot of people that would tell you otherwise that it is not. I'm doing a playthrough for Arcane right now. Well, I've kind of stalled on it. I had been doing a playthrough, and it's definitely it's a very different way to play the game. I'll see if I can find his playthrough. It's the Arcanist is what he ended up naming the run. It's really good. I've been following along slowly in my own playthrough with his playthrough, but I ended up getting stuck at Ludwig, and I want to fight Ludwig early. So I might need to come up with a different strategy, because most of the items I want for the Arcane build are unfortunately after Ludwig, so I've kind of rushed to him. I'm pretty confident about the bosses in the way. I actually want to do the entire DLC up to this point, but my weapons are going to get strong enough at that point where it's not going to be that much of a problem once I get past Ludwig. I'm pretty confident in my ability to fight Maria and the Living Failures regardless of my build. But and then by the time I would get to Orphan of Kos, I feel like my character would be strong enough that Orphan of Kos wouldn't be that much of a problem. I don't really have much issue with Orphan either. For whatever reason, that fight has just spoken to me. Ooh, I kind of got off track. I wanted to talk about the Tinnitrus. So we were talking about the Tinnitrus earlier. It's a fun weapon, especially for an Arcane build. I kind of feel like its moveset is just less fun. I don't know if I would call it ineffective. It's definitely weak on the front of, how should I put the, durability. It doesn't last as long. Oh, and I'm also going to highlight how you can, if you're having trouble fighting these two, you can in fact cheese them too, with height and length and reach. But yeah, the Tinnitrus, it's a very reasonable weapon. It doesn't have a transformed state. When you put it in its technical transformed state, all you're doing is sparking its lightning. So you put a buff on it. It doesn't actually change its moveset in any way or become a two-handed variant of a mace. It's a frustrating weapon IMO. I just elect not to use it because I just don't find it fun. I don't think it's bad. I just don't think it's fun. As you can see, For whatever reason, they just can't proceed down the stairs, despite definitely having vertical clearance for this. It's goofy. I don't know why it works this way. I completely discovered it on accident when I was here farming the first time. Way back in, not having a computer days. I mean, I had a laptop, but it wasn't very good. It couldn't really handle this kind of operation.
Very well, then.
So we're approaching the point where we're going to be 2020. And once I get endurance to level 20, I'm going to stop there personally. I feel like 20 endurance is enough for me. And most builds, like, you don't really need much more than that. Recovery, stamina recovery in Bloodborne is pretty insane compared to the other Soulsborne games. So probably going to hold off on there. I'm going to take my HP up to 40. Then, I don't remember if I do this, I'll have to look back, but I recommend getting both strength and skill to 25, and then I just go straight into skill until it's trying to get to it to 50. I don't actually quite reach that point. After you get skill to 50, if you want to keep going, go back into strength. Most weapons in Bloodborne benefit dramatically from a quality build, which would be a combination of strength and skill, or if you're speaking in a Dark Souls language, would be strength and dexterity. The reason I go for skill first in this particular character is the Saw Spear favors skill slightly, and I think we've talked about this before, but we are fishing for visceral attacks, and your visceral attack damage scales off of your skill stat. Here I'm showing off the farming method I run through. So I take care of the two of them real fast and take care of this old woman. I help her across the street. Then we go after the two pigs, reset, go. You get a hefty chunk of souls, like almost 10,000, or echoes rather, almost 10,000 per loop. And a nice amount of blood vials, and you get 2 shots at Twin Bloods, which you're probably going to get a Twin Blood or 2 every 3 out of 4 loops. So, not the greatest there, but like I said, there's so much you get out of this farm. It's pretty good. And also, if you're doing an arcane character, you're probably going to get your Twin Bloods every loop. Arcane characters, or the arcane stat does boost your item discovery, which helps with farming in these situations. Anyway, that has been my video. In the next video, we're going to go take on Parl. I'll show you how easy it can be. And I hope you all have a wonderful day and stay safe.